Hello everyone and welcome to a popular mid-size SUV that is freshly designed, it's big on its offering and it's big in size and it wears the Nissan badge, which is this new Murano. Well, the new Murano, if you compare it to the previous generation, is a completely different design and it's absolutely huge. You have no idea how big this car is because when I picked it up, it was a bit overwhelming, because if you look at the side arches, if you look at the front, it's like a proper big SUV and not just a mid-size SUV, and all of that space is also converted on the inside. Once we go on the inside, it's extremely spacious. So the new Nissan Murano is offered in 3 different trims: SV, SL and the Platinum, and the particular variant that I'm reviewing is the Murano Platinum, which is the top of the line variant. Now, in terms of the design, the Nissan has maintained the V motion design that ways in the front also, but this new design language is also trickled down into various different models, which is also there in the new Nissan Kicks. So you can click on the pop-up banner out here and you can watch the detailed review video of that new Nissan Kicks. And on this, it's the same, like the V grille out here, and on the side face there are these DRLs on either side. Those are the LED DRLs, and the top bit of the DRLs convert into the turn signals, and then this glossy plastic grille, massive one, and with this Nissan badging and the horizontal slots, and at the bottom too more opening for extra bit of cooling, and glossy plastics all across at the bottom too. So everywhere there is like more glossy plastic instead of normal plastic, which is a good thing, and less that way compared to the previous generation where there was a lot of normal plastic. Now there's also this black color plastic on the top, glossy one, and there is a Murano badging on the left side on the edge, which is a bit odd because I don't understand why you put that there, because they could have just written completely Murano out here or just not bother with writing. But nonetheless, it just lets other people remind that this is the new Murano. Now, there are also headlights continuing with this black color panel, which is on either side, which is the LED headlights given, and then there are like 3 separate ones on the inside on either side too, and then it's like a split cluster. Usually the headlights are provided at the bottom and the DRLs are on the top on a lot of cars, but Nissan has gone the other way and they put the headlights on the top and the DRLs at the bottom, and a very roundish, smooth flowing design. And on this newer generation of the Murano sits a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, and the V6 3-liter engine is now gone. So if you look at the Murano in this newer form, then you would notice that the roofline is more sloping in the back, which is much more like a coupe kind of style, but at the same time there is no cutback in the space on the inside. It's still very big. Like if you look at this, the rear arches are like bulging, like it's so thick, like you really have to see this car in person to be able to realize how broad this car is, because it's visually broad and you can make that out too. Now on this Platinum variant of the Murano, there are these 21-inch massive wheels with these black color sort of covers that are provided on it. These are the plastic ones, like if you hear them. So I'm guessing that it is just much more easier if you scrape them. So it's just like coming in like different different parts on the rim itself, so you can easily replace them if you scratch them or if you damage them. That's the thing. And it also sits on the winter tires currently, and there's more glossy plastic skirtings at the bottom too, and they cover the entire door frame. And on the rear and the front arches you would find these subtle lines, but there are no sharp lines anywhere on the car. It's much more roundish that way. There is one more shoulder line that goes from the front and just disappears in the back. There's also this half chrome surround on the top that continues till the rear too, and then this triangular glass in the rear improves a little bit of visibility also, and much more airiness on the inside. Now when we come to these side mirrors, these are glossy black side mirrors. They are power foldable, they are power adjustable, they have blind spot warning on the inside. There's also a turn light provided on the edge, and also one of the cameras from the 360-degree camera system. The front doors are the keyless entry doors, and there is also a panoramic sunroof provided, and if you notice there are two antenna instead of one. On this Murano you get the all-wheel drive as standard on all the models. So the rear end also features a very roundish design, because if you look at it, it's much more roundish, and also on the sides it's again curvy too, and again no sharp lines or anything. Now the tail lights are completely LED, turn signals, reverse lights, brake lights, everything is completely LED, and also this light bar that connects, and it's a functional light bar. So this is more like a seamless arrangement, and with the Nissan badging in the middle too, this big Murano badging out here in the back, you see that's how could have been in the front too. Then the all-wheel drive, and these are all in the dark gray color, and the platinum badging here too, and there's also glossy black plastic, and below that there is the gray color glossy plastic. So this is much more plastic glossy ones, but instead of putting the normal plastic again, which is a good thing, makes it appear a lot more luxurious in its appearance. Now if you notice, there are no tail pipes because they don't come out anywhere from the bumper, but they are sticking in the back side of the bumper itself. Now when you come to the visibility, now visibility is actually pretty low comparative to a lot of other SUVs in its segment, because if you notice the height of the car itself, the proportions, like the body continues till here, and then there is the rear glass. Now the rear glass that way is also sloping, so which is why it reduces the visibility, so you would barely be able to see the cars that's just following you. That's about it. And even if you notice the front glass and overall side profile of the car too, the windows are quite sleek that way, so it also overall reduces the visibility all across. So that is why the car is big, but at the same time you have to be like quite aware about the surroundings around the car. There is also this body color spoiler with the brake lights on the inside. There is also a wiper that goes behind this spoiler, so it's cleverly hidden in here too. Now in order to open the trunk door, there is the button provided, and also a convenience feature where you can just swipe your leg and open the rear trunk door. But in order to actually open the trunk door with a button, so usually the button would be somewhere around here near this plate, but on this Murano it's put right around out here in the middle of the Nissan badge. So you press that button and open the trunk door. Once you open the rear trunk door, there are scuff plates, plastic ones, so as to protect your bumper, the glossy ones, and this big huge storage in the back. So when the rear seats are folded up, you can put 32.9 cubic feet of luggage in the back, which is pretty decent for a car this size. Just the only thing is that the trunk floor is quite lifted up, so you really have to take your luggage and then shove it in, but there is no step or anything, so it's just going to be quite easier to just slide your luggage in and out. There are also tying points given on the inside. There are also trunk lights given too. Then there is also levers that are provided to fold down the rear seats. So the rear seats are foldable in a ratio of 60:40. Now in one of the seats there is the child seat right now, so I'm just going to show you on the other side, but this is a very convenient feature. So you just pull the lever and fold down the seats. So some of the times it just doesn't fold down, so you have to give it a whack and then let it fold down. Now when the rear seats are folded down, you can put 63.5 cubic feet of luggage, which is pretty big, but as I said, the height is a bit less, which is why you cannot stuff a lot of items. Yes, you can put like maybe 4 or 5 big bags into this one, but yes, because of the raised floor, that reduces a little bit of usage of this trunk floor. Now there is no step or anything, so it's going to be easier to slide your luggages in and out. And at the bottom of this trunk floor also sits a Bose subwoofer and also a tire repair kit, because there is no tire provided but instead a repair kit, so you need to learn how to repair the tire. Now in order to close the trunk door, there is a button provided, or you can slide your leg and let the car close the door for you. So if you have a lot of shopping bags, this is going to come in quite handy. So not just the exterior, but also the interiors are also freshened up and completely redesigned. So if you look at the interior now, it's a whole lot different than the outgoing older generation of the Murano, because it's very simplified and at the same time good use of quality materials that are provided on the inside, and wherever you're going to be interacting, definitely much more improved material quality also. And to some extent it is also nearly a luxury SUV. It's going to give you that experience for sure on the inside. So let's begin with the material quality. On the top face of the dashboard there is soft touch material, and it's like 2-3 layers of dashboard design provided, and then there is this brown color leather on the side face with the white color stitching, even on the driver's side too. And then out here on the door cards on the top face there's brown color leather with the white color stitching, and then this dual tone plastic panel which is like a blue and golden color. So it's like a dual tone, so if you look at certain angles it's golden blues. And even on the door cards too, where you're going to be resting, has that's leather covered, and then around these switches there is piano black plastic. At the bottom just normal plastic. Even out here in the center tunnel there's normal plastic, but there is again a glossy plastic around these volume dials and underneath the vents, and also this wood panel which is the real wood provided, and behind that are the air conditioning controls. So if you're familiar with the Nissan Ariya, that's where it was first introduced, and now it is trickling down into other models too, but definitely looks much more elegant and nicer, cleaner looking interface. But we're going to come to the touch buttons that are provided on this wooden panel. And then there are certain places where there is just like normal plastic provided, like on this steering in the center and even in the back of this center tunnel. So only those places where there is normal plastic, but otherwise the use of premium materials is really nice on this new Murano. Even out here there is glossy plastic, and if you notice there is no gear shifter, because instead now there are buttons provided. So a shift by wire, but these buttons are mounted on this horizontal face and inclined a little bit so that you can easily read them. But yeah, it takes a little while to get used to this, because yeah, you have to keep pressing these buttons every single time that you interact, and then I'm just so used to changing using the gear shifter. So yeah, this is a new form of gear shifting. But then yeah, these days manufacturers are coming up with newer ideas, like in the Hyundai Tucson XRT variant there is like a stock that comes out from the steering column. You can click on the pop-up banner out here and can watch that detailed review of that too. And there is also the Mercedes E-Class where there is stock that comes out. Again, you can click on the pop-up banner out here and can watch the detailed review video of the Mercedes E450. So continuing with this one, the material quality overall is really posh and upscale on the inside. Now when we come to the driver's display, so this is a 12.3 inch digital driver's display along with a 12.3 inch infotainment screen, and it's like a continuous display. There is just one dead zone in between, that's about it, but it's still like in a black layout, so it looks seamless. And for some reason the infotainment screen is angled towards the passengers more and not towards the driver. I mean, in a way it's good, because you don't want to interact with the infotainment screen while you are driving the car, but yeah, it's visually very angled towards the passenger. So continuing with the driver's display, there are dials on either side, and then there are buttons provided on the steering wheel on the right side to control the driver's display. So the standard view is the compass that you can see, and then you can scroll down if you want to leave it in like blank, and then you see the auto refuel, then the fuel economy in that, and then you press again, then manual reset, again the same, then the manual reset 2, then we go to the next one, which is the auto start stop, how much fuel you've saved, then the tire pressure, and then the 4x4 intelligent, which is the all-wheel drive system, and then the maps. So it shows you Google Maps also on this, and then the media controls, and then the safety systems, the blind spot forward lane detection and all of that, and then the speed limit signs, and then the detailed settings. And then you can even go into this safety systems by pressing the left side button on the top corner. So you press that, you activate the cruise control, and then you press again, you deactivate, and then that's how you can get into that same driving assistance. Then we go into the detailed settings where there is VDC, which is the traction control, driver assistance, heads up display, eco mode setting, tire pressure, clock, and then the vehicle settings, inside lighting, locking, wipers, driver position, all of that, towing, maintenance, customize gauges. So you can customize all these gauges also, what they show, unit, language, factory reset, and we come out into the main menu. Also, you can even change the layout of this. And then the thing is that there are buttons provided on the steering wheel, and there are two buttons on the right side. So whichever button is active is shown in orange. So the left side one is for the driver's display, whereas the right side one, if I flick, if you notice, it goes into the infotainment screen, and you can control using this pad the same infotainment screen also. And then if you press the left one, you are controlling the driver's display, and you press that button again, and then there is a change meter view where it shows you like no dials, but instead just information on either side and more bigger information in the middle. The same sort of menu options, exact same ones that you can scroll through on the center screen. And the best view is the navigation, because now the maps are big and huge that you can look at, so it's just quite easy to read them instead of looking at the infotainment screen. So that's how you use the driver's display on this new Murano. Now when we come to the steering wheel, this is a leather covered flat bottom steering wheel, and it's a 2-spoke steering wheel, and it's electronically adjustable, which is the tilt and telescopic. Quite fast is what I've seen on this one. And there are also plastic paddle shifters, because this thing now comes with 9-speed automatic gearbox, and there are buttons provided on either side. But the thing is that these buttons are provided on a glossy panel. Some of the times I've found that when the sun is directly falling on these buttons, it tends to wash away and you cannot see the information very clearly. Also, it might become prone to scratches also, I don't know. And I found a scroller dial on the right side, which is a bit unnecessary, because there are the direction buttons already provided, the arrow keys, so there's no point in providing the scroller after that. But then yeah, they have used that, but instead they could have replaced the scroller for the volume. But anyways, so on the right side there are buttons provided for the driver's display, and also to change some of the information on the infotainment screen, and also the media controls. Whereas on the left side there are buttons provided for the adaptive cruise control, that also comes with the Pro Pilot Assist, so hands-free driving, and also the volume controls that are sitting at the bottom. And in the middle, as I mentioned, there is this like normal plastic with the Nissan logo on it. Now when we come to the air conditioning controls, so these air conditioning controls are sitting on this wooden panel, and these buttons are the touch buttons, but they also have the haptic feedback on them. And not just that, you can even control the air conditioning controls from inside this infotainment screen, or you can see the information on that infotainment screen at the bottom side. So in order to switch on the air conditioning controls, so you press the on off, and then the plus minus for the fan speed, and then on either side the temperature control. So you get dual zone air conditioning system on this new Murano, and then more options for fresh air, auto, and everything. And then as you see on the infotainment screen, the temperature is visible, and you can even press the temperature options, and then you can scroll through individual temperature on each side, so for the driver and the passenger also. And not just that, there is also the heated steering wheel option that is provided on screen, on the infotainment screen. And there's also another button that is provided on the left side, so there is a button option and the on-screen option also that's been given. And then if you want to change the detailed settings, then you go inside this option, and then on screen this huge option where you can see the different controls like the temperature, the fan speed, the flow of air, every single thing. And you can adjust the rear, where you can just switch on the heated seats for the rear passengers on either side. And not just that, you can even put on the heated and the cool seats. Again, you press the temperature on either side, and you can switch on the heated or the cool seats on both the sides. So the driver and the passenger side seats both come with that. Now when we come to the infotainment screen, this is a 12.3-inch infotainment screen, and it also now comes with a lot of Google apps on the inside and also a data connection. So you can give hotspot to the passengers on the inside as well as utilize it to use the navigation and everything. But if you scroll around, like, there is a lot of graphics that's going on, like a 3D kind of setup. So yeah, it slows down slightly in terms of its response, but I like the design on it because yeah, it's seamless and it's gentle at the same time. So the main option on your screen, the first widget, is the maps, and you can even long press and adjust them too on the screen. So you can change the layout of these widgets however you want to customize them. So the first option is the Google Maps. You're familiar with the Google Maps already, so it's not going to be a hard thing. And I like the fact that all the manufacturers are starting to just give Google Maps as standard, because anyways we are so used to that, so it's just much more easier to operate that. Then there is the FM option, then the device connections, and then the connection. So in terms of the connectivity, you can connect to this infotainment screen using Bluetooth, USB, and there's also wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. And the next option is the guest, and then the apps on screen, whatever you see, the interior lights and everything. And then there is Amazon Alexa and My Q Garage, using which you can control every single option on this car. Like you can unlock the car, or you can set the temperature and switch on the car. So you can do multiple things with that. And another thing is that there are also mood lights that are provided on the inside. So there are mood lights in the dashboard and also for the rear passengers too, even in the door cards and also out here on the sides too. So these mood lights can be changed from inside this infotainment screen, where you go in, and then there is the interior light option where there is ambient light, and then there are like different options. First, you can switch on the front or the rear ones, you can do that. And there's also the Pro Pilot Assist or the Delight, where there are 4 different color options fixed. Then there is Discovery, Passion, so based on your mood, and there is additional 64 different colors too. But if you don't want to go from there, there's also the settings option from where you go, and then there is the vehicle option, and then the interior light. So multiple ways to go inside. Now continuing with our infotainment screen, the next option is on the side. So these are shortcut buttons also provided for maps, the media, phone, and the Google Assistant. So you can ask anything to Google and then get answers to that, or change the temperature, or increase the media volume and everything, change the channels and everything. And then the apps option, where there is interior light, the Nissan owner's manual, demo mode system, Play Store, Google Assistant, Maps, Nissan connected service, Amazon Alexa, Q Garage, profile, interior lights, lots of things, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, everything. And even here also you can customize the menu options too by organizing them inside. Then at the bottom corner on the left side, there is the notifications, if there are any, just like your Google phones, Android phones. And the next option is the all settings, where there is connections, phones, then the general options like the sounds, clock, systems, then the vehicle option, camera, climate, seat, interior lights, and then the customized menus, Nissan connected services, Google accessibility, and all of that. So that's how you basically use the infotainment screen, and it's the same system that's now been offered across all the different models on the newer lineup of Nissans. Now there is also a volume dial provided which sits in the middle, and the quality of that is really nice. And the dial is the only thing that's physical, otherwise there are all the touch buttons for the air conditioning controls, and it's nearly a buttonless approach that's been given. Now when we come to the charging, so there are 2 USB Type-C ports underneath the air conditioning control, 1 wireless charger in the front, and there are 2 more Type-C USB ports which are given for the rear passengers. Now there is also a switch that is provided next to the gear shifter buttons for the different driving modes. So there are 3 different driving modes, which is the Eco, Standard, and the Sport. It's that simple, straightforward. You can switch to different modes. Now when we come to the heads-up display, so the heads-up display is a 12.9-inch big heads-up display provided, and it shows you wide variety of information like your navigation, the speed limit, and also the adaptive cruise control and the distance and pro pilot assist and everything, all that information. And in order to switch on and off, there is a button provided on the left side, so you can switch it on and off directly from here. And in order to change the information on the heads up display, you go into the settings from the driver's display, and then there is the heads up display option where you can change brightness, height, rotation, and the content selection, navigation, driving assist, audio, everything that can be selected or unselected from here. So that's how you change the heads up display on this new Murano. Now there are also filaments that are given on the front glass, and at first when you're driving it, it can be a bit distracting because you have to get used to that fact that there are these small filaments right next to each other and spread across the entire front glass, because they are the heating filaments. And where it comes in quite handy is when it snows and your front windscreen is completely covered in snow. You switch this on and the glass would heat up and would melt the snow. Now the filament, as I said, can be a bit distracting initially, but you get used to the fact that these filaments are there. But it's a very clever idea because it comes in really helpful, especially in Canada, when for like a few months, up to 3 to 4 months, there is like heavy snow. So you just switch on that heater for the front glass and it would remove the snow, melt it for you, so no more scraping and all of that. Now when we come to the storage, so in the door cards you can put about 1 liter worth of bottle. That's what I've found. Storage is slightly on the lower side in the door cards and some more storage on the side. You can utilize this wireless charger, these 2 flexible cup holders, some more storage on the side to maybe put your keys and everything. There's this big cutout at the bottom where you can put again your phones and wallets or books, and there's also this glove box which is a bit tiny. Same goes for the passenger side. Also there is this sunglass holder and this center armrest in which you can easily put about 6 half a liter worth of bottles. So it's quite deep, and the door of this handrest is also covered in leather with the white color stitching. Now when we come to the seats, so these seats are the zero gravity seats and they are absolutely comfortable for longer journeys. And the zero gravity seats from Nissan are one of the best because they offer like overall comfort as well as also a lot of support when you are sat inside the seats. They are quite broad too, but they are also the dual tone seats. So the top side is brown color and the bottom side is the black color, and they are perforated seats because they are the heated and the cool seats. They also have the white color stitching. The headrests are again quite soft, but what I found is that the seats have a bit of lower lumbar missing. I've tried to adjust it using the lumbar adjustment, but I've still found that it's a bit missing. And also the seats themselves, you cannot adjust the lower side of it, so it misses out slightly my under thigh support. Otherwise, in terms of the comfort, they are quite soft, so longer journeys are going to be quite relaxing on the inside. Another thing is that the seats are also the massage seats. So the seats on the side support, they are not really that aggressive because they are not like a sporty kind of setup, and so goes for the bottom side too. Now in terms of the adjustment, so the driver side seat is 8-way electronically adjustable and 4-way lumbar adjustment, and so is the passenger side seat. And both the driver and the passenger side seat comes with the massage options, and the button is straightforward given here. You press that and then you can do the adjustment on the infotainment screen. So you can choose from relaxing, refreshing, or lumbar, and then intensity, speed, and same for the passenger too. So these massage seats would make sure that you are fresh after you've completed a journey on the inside of this new Murano. Now this new Murano also comes with the extendable sun visors, and it also comes with an emergency SOS button as well as a panoramic sunroof, which is a good addition because boy, this car is so big, and this addition of the panoramic sunroof makes sure that this car looks absolutely big on the inside. So the rear space is supreme on this new Murano because in terms of the knee room, I have almost 1 full palm of knee room, and the seat is in my driving position, and after that the seats have slight bit of curve, but nonetheless there is this much offered in terms of the knee room. And the headroom, again, that's also plenty because someone about 6 feet 2 inches, then will start brushing their heads. But up to 6 feet 2 inches, yes, they can sit into these seats quite comfortably. I can even slide my legs under the seats for longer journeys, so there is space for that too. And then we come to these seats. So the rear seats are found them to be slightly on the lower side, and as a result of that, that's how they've been able to increase the overall space that's been offered in the rear. But I wouldn't complain, because these seats are again the same comfortable seats that were offered even for the front passengers. So they are the same dual tone seats. The top bit is brown with the diamond quilting on that side, and the bottom side again is black leather seats, and they are perforated seats, but they are just the heated seats, not the cooled seats. There are also 3 headrests. The middle one is the slimmer one, because don't usually use the middle seat that often, so which is why it's been offered like that. And if you notice the angle that my legs are making, it misses out on the under thigh support because of the fact that the bottom bit is more like a bench type of setup, and which is why it's sitting also on the lower side, and as a result it misses slightly on that. But in terms of the comfort, as I said, they offer good to compensate for that. There is also a middle seat provided too, and there is no tunnel at all in the back. I don't know how they managed to do that, or even though this is an all-wheel drive. So once I sit in the middle seat is decently soft also, just that the backrest is slightly on the firmer side, and that is to do with the fact that there are like two it's a bit of a struggle. This is a new car, so it's still tight. This car has just done about like 1200 kilometers, that's about it. So there are like 2 normal cup holders and also a phone holder that's given in the front, and the height of it is what I really liked. It's at the right angle, because both sides are at the equal height, and that's what you usually want, not like leaning towards one side. Now in terms of the door card quality, so the top side is again covered in brown color leather, and where you're going to be resting hands, that black color leather with the white color stitching. And there are also mood lights, as I mentioned, given in the back too, which is quite rare in most of the cars, because they just only give in the front, because maybe the front passengers are only special or what. No, even for the rear you can have them, and then these lights are all connected with the same for the front too. And there are also the speaker grills. So there is Bose music system that's been offered on this Murano Platinum edition, and not just that, this Bose music system also works as the active noise cancellation too. More on that once we go for a drive. In terms of the storage, you can put 1 liter worth of bottle, and some more slimmer storage that's provided in the front, and plastic at the bottom. There is also pocket storage in the passenger side seat, and there are also 2 air conditioning vents that are provided, and the buttons for the heated seats at the bottom on either side. There is also the sun blinders that are given for extra bit of privacy for the rear passengers. But overall, I really like how the space arrangement is in the rear, because it's genuinely big, broad, and 3 people can easily fit into the rear seats. And it rarely, a handful of cars will make sure that 3 fully grown adults can fit into the rear of a mid-size SUV. So this new Nissan Murano is powered by a 2-liter 4-cylinder variable control turbocharged engine that produces 241 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque, and this engine is mated to a 9-speed automatic transmission. So out goes the CVT, and in comes the 9-speed automatic transmission, and out goes the 3-liter V6 engine, and in comes this 2-liter turbocharged engine. Now in terms of the response, this is a very smooth powerhouse, and what I've realized is that the car functions well in the standard mode, because if you put this thing into the sport mode, then it just becomes too sensitive to the throttle, and then it's just trying to be aggressive with its gear shifts and everything. So just leave it in standard, and everything works very well on this car. And in terms of the power and the torque, it's pretty good. At first I found the car that maybe it was slightly heavy and this engine was not ample, but you drive longer and in standard mode, and then you realize like this is more than enough for daily use, because yes, this is actually a very good engine, and the transmission setup, and the gear shifts are also quite smooth. You take it into the manual control and takes half a second to shift through different gears because there are 9 gears, but then just leave it in auto and then let the car figure out everything because it's doing that very well. Now, in terms of the efficiency from this 2-liter turbocharged engine on longer runs, I've managed to get somewhere between 8.5 to 9 liters per 100 kilometers, whereas within the city in heavier traffics I managed to do 11 to 11.5 kilometers per 100 liters, and you can even do 10.5 if there is like a medium level of traffic within the city. So it's between that, so consider it to be between 10.5 to 11.5 liters per 100 kilometers, which for an engine that is 2-liter turbocharged and for a car this big, it's a good number, and it's got 71 liters of fuel tank capacity. Now, when we come to the suspensions, so the suspensions are pretty good on this Murano is what I would say, because they are soft, they absorb the bumps very well, and the dampers are doing the job very well and making sure I'm isolated from the road surfaces, the irregularities on it. So in the suspension department, it's very well calibrated, and it's going to give you a very smooth and a gentle ride experience. And clubbed with these zero gravity seats, it's going to be a pleasant experience. Now, when we come to the steering, again, that's also another department that has improved on this Murano, because now the steering, instead of being hydraulic, is electronic, but it's still very sharp for an SUV, and also to do with the fact that the roll is quite well controlled. It's maybe the stability that is working very well, and as a result of that, it's also giving me a very good handling result. Although it's light, I will admit, like any SUVs. In fact, this SUV makes you feel like you're driving a very big SUV than its size, but it still manages to somehow pull it off. It gives you a good balance of steering feel and also giving you that engaging feeling with the road surface too. So on that department also it's doing well. Now, when we come to the brakes, so there are 4 disc brakes on this Murano, and the brake pedal is progressive, but I've found that there is like a bit of a weight to the pedal, so you have to push it a little bit to be able to like get the braking action. But yes, it's progressive in that department, and the braking action is quite strong from all these 4 brakes. In fact, it does very well, and especially because there's quite a lot of mass on this car. So yeah. Now, in terms of the visibility, so I just wanted to make a point about that, because the windows are quite sloping, so there are some areas where there might be a little bit like the roof sometimes feels like it's just a little ahead of me, so I cannot get a clear visibility sometimes, and which is why there are more cutouts provided on the side near the side mirrors, so that they offer extra bit of visibility. Now, when we come to the noise, so there is absolutely no noise that way within the cabin, and that is very well done. So the side windows are double glazed, so there's no wind whooshing, and the tires, even though they are 21-inch, but still they are very quiet. There is no tire noise or anything, and in fact the tires are actually soft enough, and they are also helping absorb a lot of bump. But anyways, it comes with the all-terrain tires too. Now, when we come to the safety systems, so there are 11 airbags on this Murano Platinum editions, 2 for the front driver and the passenger, 2 side airbags again for the driver and the passenger, 2 side airbags even for the rear passengers. There are 2 curtain airbags in the frames, then there are 2 knee airbags for the driver and the passenger, and there is also a supplementary airbag provided on the driver's side, so that's to divide between the passenger and the driver, and for the impact, if there is a side one, then that airbag is provided for that too. Then child isofix points in both the rear seats, and there is a brilliant 360-degree camera system. But the thing is that the output from that cameras can be improved. I see brilliant because now it's got the 360, and the best part is that you can select so many different 3D views. And if you press the 3D option on the screen, which is when you're not reversing and just switching the camera on by pressing the button from here. So you do that, and then there is a 3D view, and then the car would take a full 3D across, take you around, and then show you if there is any objects or anything. So that's a good way to have a look at any obstructions around the car. So that's why it's a good one. But yeah, a little improvement in the quality would go a long way. Then there is the tire pressure, ABS, then the blind spot warning, then the adaptive cruise control with the Pro Pilot Assist, and there is also the Bose music system that's been used for the active sound cancellation on the inside, and that's also doing its job very well, because that's making sure the car is quiet on the inside too. And in terms of the safety systems, yeah, pretty much everything is there. There's also lane keep assist, lane departure warning. When we come to the pricing, so the base variant, which is the SV, starts from $49,600 approximately, whereas the SL variant comes in at $53,285,000, and this top variant, which is the Platinum, comes in at $56,285 approximately Canadian dollars. And in terms of the pricing, so the point is that there are very few cars that improve dramatically in terms of its offering, and this Murano is one of that. Because pick up even the 24 car and this car, there is like a huge difference. It feels like there is like a decade of a difference between the two cars, and for good reason, because this car now feels very advanced. It's a stylish car, it's very good looking, it's huge, it's pretty big, and not just in terms of its looks, but also in terms of its space. It's practical, it's got so much of tech, and now it's advanced too. It's safe, and it's going to be very useful for daily driving too, so you can still use it as a daily driver also. So it's just, as I said, it's one of the cars that has improved so much, and for good. And Nissan of lately has been dishing out some really nice cars. Pick up this, pick up the Kicks, and the newly launched Leaf, which is going to come out soon. So all these cars are really now upping their games and being noticed in the segment, and this Murano is going to be a very good contender in the mid-size SUV. So make sure to check this car out and see it for yourself, because you're going to be left highly impressed by this new Murano. Anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you for watching this video, and if you liked this video, make sure to leave a like and make sure to subscribe to this channel. I shall see you in the next video. Bye bye, take care, and drive safe.